All right, welcome everyone to another exciting episode of you know it, the World 11 weekly podcast. It's great to be back, isn't it, Sean? I mean, what a week has been in the world of football, seriously. Absolutely, Tom. It's been pretty wild, actually. We've got so much to unpack for you all today. I'm talking about some absolutely massive transfers, like seriously, record-breaking stuff. Yeah, and not just transfers, we're also diving into some truly standout player performances that have just lit up the global stage over the past 7 days. So yeah, stay tuned because we've got a lot of ground to cover, don't we? It's going to be a good one. Okay, Tom, let's just dive straight into what is arguably the biggest news story of the past week, and really honestly, probably the summer so far. Florian Wirtz to Liverpool. Oh, massive. Absolutely massive. I mean, we've been hearing whispers, haven't we? But for it to actually happen, and for that fee, Sean, over £100 million, it's mind-boggling, isn't it? It really is. I mean, 100 million plus. That's what we're hearing. And it's not just a huge fee in general terms, but it's a new Bundesliga record, right? Just absolutely shatters anything we've seen come out of Germany before. What does that say about the player, first and foremost, that Liverpool are willing to commit that kind of, investment? It says everything, doesn't it? It says he's not just a talent, he's the talent. I mean, we've seen him at Bayer Leverkusen, the way he just glides, the vision, the passing range, the goals he contributes. He's been instrumental in everything they've achieved. And, for Liverpool, who have been, let's be honest, they've been looking for that creative spark, that long-term solution in midfield for a little while now, haven't they? This isn't just a signing, it's a statement. Yeah, it's a massive statement. And it really does position them for what they're calling a major midfield rebuild. We've seen some players leave, some veterans moving on, and they've brought in a few pieces, but Wirtz, he feels like the linchpin, doesn't he? The centerpiece of this new era. He absolutely does. And I think what's interesting, too, is how he fits in. Liverpool's system, the high pressing, the intensity. Wirtz has that work rate, but he also brings that technical brilliance, that ability to unlock defenses. He can play centrally, he can drift wide. He gives them so many options, which is crucial when you're talking about competing on all fronts, isn't it? You need that versatility.
Yeah, absolutely. And for Bayer Leverkusen, obviously it's tough to lose a player of his caliber, but that kind of money is it's almost impossible to turn down, isn't it? They'll be looking to reinvest, I guess, quite heavily now.
Oh, for sure. It gives them significant financial power to rebuild their squad. I mean, you never want to lose your star player, but if you're getting over £100 million for him, especially from a club like Liverpool, who, have a habit of doing good business, it's a testament to their own development pathway, isn't it? That they've produced a player worth that much. But yeah, it's huge for Liverpool. I can't wait to see him in the Premier League, honestly. I think he's going to hit the ground running.
I think so too. And just the buzz around Anfield, I can only imagine what that's going to be like when he finally, steps out there for his debut. It's a real sign of intent from Liverpool, isn't it? After perhaps a slightly underwhelming season by their incredibly high standards, they're clearly saying we're back in a big way. Absolutely, a huge statement. And speaking of players making statements or perhaps looking to make a new one after a challenging period, let's talk about Paul Pogba, because that's another. I wouldn't say it's as seismic in terms of a transfer fee. Obviously, it's a free transfer, but it's massive news nonetheless. Paul Pogba joining AS Monaco.
Oh, wow. Just when you hear the name Pogba and then you hear Monaco, it almost doesn't compute, does it? After everything he's been through, the Juventus return, the doping ban, and then suddenly he's off to League One back in France. It's quite the move, isn't it?
It really is. And the free transfer aspect, I think, is it's fascinating because, he's been out of the game for 18 months now with that doping ban. And for a player of his caliber, a World Cup winner, to, suddenly be available for free, it's a huge gamble for Monaco, but also a potentially massive reward, isn't it?
Yeah, it's huge. And you mentioned the 18-month ban. I think that's the key, isn't it? This isn't just a transfer. It's a chance at redemption, really. For someone who was, at one point considered one of the best midfielders in the world, certainly globally recognized, he's had a really, really tough couple of years, hasn't he?
He really has. I mean, between injuries, off-field issues, and then of course the ban, it's been a very turbulent time. Do you think, Tom, this a return to France, perhaps a slightly less intense spotlight than maybe the Premier League or Serie A, do you think that's exactly what he needs to kind of rediscover his form and, get back to that player we know he can be?
I do, actually. I really do. I think the League One pace, while still competitive, it's not the same relentless scrutiny that you get, say, in the Premier League, where every single touch is analyzed. And, Monaco, they're a good side, but they're not necessarily a title contender every single year. So he can go there. He can, hopefully just focus on his football without all the external noise. And he's still, 31, 32?
He's still got years ahead of him. Yeah, exactly. He's got, he's got some good years left if he can get himself right. And, for Monaco, it's a player who on his day can absolutely dictate a midfield. I mean, he's got that vision, the passing range, the physical presence. He could be he could be quite transformative for them in League One.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if he finds even 80% of his old form, he's still a top-tier player, particularly in Ligue 1. I mean, he'll bring that experience, that winning mentality from, winning the World Cup, winning titles with Juventus. That's invaluable, isn't it? Especially for a team like Monaco who are, they're looking to challenge at the top, but they need that sort of that star power, that leadership, I suppose, in the middle of the park.
Yeah, that leadership, that star power. It's interesting because, on a free transfer, it almost, I don't know, it takes away some of that immediate pressure of a massive fee. And maybe that's also part of the appeal for him. It's just a fresh start, a clean slate. I'm really curious to see how he performs. I think it's definitely one to keep an eye on, isn't it? For sure.
Definitely. I mean, imagine the stories if he gets back to his best and plays a crucial role for Monaco. It would be quite the narrative arc, wouldn't it? From being, at his lowest point with the ban to then being a pivotal player in Ligue 1. It just it shows that, sometimes footballers just need that second chance. And it looks like Monaco are willing to give him that. It's exciting. Yeah, it's exciting stuff. And speaking of exciting, someone who's definitely been on an ascent, a global ascent really, in the last few weeks is Ivica Kvaratskhelia. I mean, wow, what a player and what a few weeks he's had.
Oh, Kvaratskhelia, the Georgian sensation. I mean, honestly, he's gone from strength to strength, hasn't he? To think about him achieving what he has, becoming the first Georgian to not only score but also win a Champions League final. I mean, it's monumental. It's truly historic.
It really is. I mean, for a country that hasn't had that kind of representation at the very, very top of European club football, for him to break that barrier and then, actually be a pivotal part of winning the whole thing, it's just incredible. And, it just further cements his status, really, as one of the truly elite wingers in the game right now.
Absolutely. And then, just when you think he's hit his peak with that, he goes and has a standout performance for PSG in the Club World Cup. Like it's almost as if he's just showing up everywhere, isn't he? And just consistently delivering at the highest level.
Yeah, it's just it's one of those where he just seems to be built for the big occasions. Like, some players, they thrive under pressure, but he seems to elevate his game even further. And for PSG, obviously they've got a plethora of attacking talent, but for him to still stand out in that Club World Cup, that really says something about his individual brilliance.
Oh, totally. I mean, you got to remember he's playing alongside some of the biggest names in world football at PSG, and for him to be, a focal point, to be one of the players everyone's talking about, especially in the tournament like the Club World Cup where you're facing, champions from different continents, it really speaks volumes for his adaptability, I suppose, and his consistent quality. Yeah, his adaptability and that sort of fearless approach he seems to have. I mean, he's not intimidated by the stage, is he? And it's not just the goals, it's the way he moves, the way he creates chances, the dribbling.
He's just such a joy to watch, I think, for any football fan. He's got that that unpredictability that really keeps defenders on their toes.
Yeah, he really does. And I think it just goes to show, doesn't it, the global reach of the game now. You've got, a player from Georgia making history in the Champions League, then performing for one of the biggest clubs in the world on a global stage. His stock is just through the roof. I mean, he's quickly become one of the most recognizable names, I think, in football.
For sure. I mean, if he wasn't before, he certainly is now. And I think clubs all over Europe are probably looking at him and thinking, "My goodness, how do we get a piece of that?" But obviously, PSG have him locked down for now. But what a few weeks for him! Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it's brilliant to see, and it's exactly the kind of story that makes football so compelling, isn't it? The individual brilliance, the historic achievements, just fantastic. Yeah, it's brilliant to see, and it's exactly the kind of story that makes football so compelling, isn't it? The individual brilliance, the historic achievements, just fantastic.
Absolutely. And speaking of fantastic moves and clubs making big statements, let's dive into some of the other significant transfer updates from the Premier League and across Europe, because it's been a busy week, hasn't it?
Oh, incredibly busy, Sean. You blink and there's another major deal on the cards. And I guess we have to start with Liverpool again, don't we? After Wirtz, they've also brought in Milos Krikez for £40 million.
Yeah, Kirk that's a significant outlay, isn't it? $40 million for a left back. But it really shows, their commitment to this comprehensive rebuild. It's not just the midfield. They're looking at all areas.
Well, exactly. And, given Robertson's age and the need for succession planning, it makes a lot of sense. Kirk has been highly rated for a while now, hasn't he? He's got that attacking flair and defensive solidity. It's a good fit for their system, I think.
Yeah, I think so, too. And it's a statement of intent, I guess, that they're willing to pay big money for a player in that position, especially after bringing in Wirtz. It really says they're serious about competing at the very top again.
Oh, absolutely. And, Slot will be happy to have those kinds of options available to him. It just, it really deepens the squad, which is what you need for, a title challenge and European campaigns.
For sure. Switching gears a little bit, let's talk about Arsenal. They're reportedly targeting Christian Norgard from Brentford for £11.5 million. That's an interesting one, isn't it?
Norgard, it's not the name that screams blockbuster, is it? But it feels like a very Mikel Arteta signing. A bit understated, but a solid, reliable presence in midfield.
Exactly. My thoughts precisely. He's not going to grab the headlines, but he's a fantastic, consistent performer, excellent at breaking up play, good on the ball, very experienced in the Premier League now. I think it's a smart piece of business for that kind of money.
Yeah, and I think it provides that depth, doesn't it? Especially if you're looking at, challenging for multiple competitions. You need players who can come in, do a job, and maintain that level of performance without any real drop-off. And Norgard certainly fits that, though.
He really does. And then, of course, you can't have a transfer window without Chelsea making some significant moves, can you? They're apparently eyeing Brighton's João Pedro for $58 million and Dortmund's Jamie Gittins for $55.5 million.
Goodness me, Chelsea and their spending. I mean, $58 million for João Pedro? He's had some good moments at Brighton for sure, but that's a hefty price tag. And then Gittins, another young talent, but again, over $55 million? It's just, it's astronomical, really.
It really is. It feels like they're completely committed to this youth-first strategy, but they're doing it at a premium price. They're not just picking up promising youngsters. They're paying top dollar for them.
Yeah, it's a bold strategy, isn't it? And you just wonder, will it pay off in the short term? Because, the pressure at Chelsea is immense and they're expected to deliver results immediately. Pedro has proven he can handle the Premier League to some extent, but Gittins would be coming into a completely new league, new country.
It's a huge ask, isn't it, to adapt that quickly with those kinds of price tags on your back? I mean, they're both very talented players, no doubt. But especially Gittins, coming from Dortmund, it's a different beast, the Premier League, isn't it?
It is. And, it highlights, doesn't it, the financial power within the Premier League right now. I mean, these are just eye-watering figures for players who are still, developing their careers. It's a lot of pressure to put on him.
Yeah, it truly is. And it'll be fascinating to see how they integrate, if these deals go through, and what impact they have on Chelsea's season. But it just shows you the level of investment we're seeing in football these days. It's incredible.
Yeah, it truly is. And it'll be fascinating to see how they integrate if these deals go through and what impact they have on Chelsea's season. But it just shows you the level of investment we're seeing in football these days. It's incredible.
Absolutely, Sean. What a week it's been, huh? From Wirtz's record move to Liverpool, Pogba's surprising return with Monaco, Kvaratskhelia Champions League heroics, and of course, all these fascinating Premier League and European transfers. There's just so much to talk about.
It really has been a jam-packed week of football news, that's for sure. And that brings us to the end of another episode of the World 11 Weekly Podcast.
Indeed. A huge thank you to all our listeners for tuning in. We really appreciate you joining us each week. Do make sure to like and subscribe and leave us a comment if you want to discuss any of these stories further. Absolutely. Your engagement means a lot. We'll be back next week with even more of the biggest global football news. Until then, take care, everyone.